Very few people have the experience that I have with digestive enzymes. So I'm going to help you figure out if over-the-counter supplementation with digestive enzymes is a good idea. Only 0.03% of the world's population has the same experience as me with digestive enzymes. That's because we have something called cystic fibrosis. This is a genetic disease that really affects your lungs, pancreas, and a bunch of other organs in your body. And today we're going to be looking at specifically the pancreas. So I have cystic fibrosis, and that means I have to deal with all of these different side effects and symptoms and things that have to really affect my life. And one of the things that cystic fibrosis has a big effect on is your digestive system. Now you can see on the screen here all the different symptoms and things like that. This is on the Mayo Clinic, and here's the respiratory complications, and then here's the digestive system complications. So my experience with the pancreas is essentially people with cystic fibrosis. What it does is it clogs up the tubes that take enzymes out of the pancreas. So they basically just get backed up. And this is all the time. It's not like some get through sometimes, it's all the time. Now, when this happens, it causes a lot of things like some inflammation and scarring. This scarring leads to other things like diabetes, aka cystic fibrosis related diabetes. And this is something that most likely will happen to me. It happens to 50% of people. And usually these percentages are a lot lower than reality and what I've noticed. When you look at this, as far as digestive system complications, you see nutritional deficiencies, diabetes, liver disease, intestinal obstruction. So when you eat food, this is what triggers the process of enzymes. When as soon as you start eating it, there's a bunch of different things that trigger it. This can include differences in pH when the food hits your system, hormones, your taste buds, body temperature. So there's a lot of things that go into this that tells your body when to release the enzymes, and it releases them so that when the food gets to your stomach, the enzymes are there, ready to go, and it starts digesting the food. Now, there's 3 different types of enzymes that are really the most important. There's a lot of different enzymes, but the 3 big ones are amylase enzymes, which help digest carbs, essentially turns it into blood sugars. The other one is lipase. That's probably the most important because that's what digests fats, and that's sort of how you gauge how effective different enzymes are as far as supplementation. Then the last one is, I've always called it protease, it might be protease, I'm not sure, but that one digests protein. So that's the 3 you look at to help you, if you have a really high protein meal with no fats, obviously you're going to hope that the supplement has a lot of protease in it, right? And it goes like that. But most of them have a good ratio of the 3, lipase being the most important. Now, once food is broken down into amino acids, they're basically transported through the body. There are a lot of different processes to help replace things like muscle, bone, hair, any kind of cellular damage, tons of things like that. So we know how important enzymes are in the body, and we see how they're triggered. So the real question is, do you need to add more enzymes through supplementation? And why would you, right? So this is where my knowledge comes into play and the things that I've experienced. So step 1, if you have an appropriate diet and you're eating what you should be eating and you're an athlete, the number 1 question you need to find out, and you can do this through blood work or with your doctor, is do you have any vitamin deficiencies? Simple as that. If you have a vitamin deficiency, could be because you don't have enough enzymes to break down the food. Now, if I don't take enzymes with my food, the first thing that happens with people, besides enormous pain, is vitamin deficiencies. That's why people with CF always have different deficiencies in vitamins, and it's usually not just one, it's a bunch, okay? And it's usually fat-soluble vitamins. So if you're not vitamin deficient, chances are you're getting all the enzymes you need to process your food. Okay, that's step 1. Simple enough. Next step, and this one is sort of subjective, but when you eat a meal that's high in fat, do you feel nauseous afterwards? And I don't mean just kind of like a burp or a little bloating. I mean like you actually need to throw up your food in order to continue feeling okay. Now, this also has sort of a caveat to it, is people that have their gallbladder removed. If you've had your gallbladder removed, I'm sure you know as well as I do that the doctor has told you you need to at least monitor your fat intake, because your body uses the bile from your gallbladder along with enzymes to help break down the fats. So this is another thing you have to take into account as well. So do you have a vitamin deficiency? No. Do you feel nauseous when you eat high fat meals? No. Cool. So you can move on to the next part, and that'll just be see a doctor to see if they have any input on that situation. Now, when you When you think about the digestive system, I'll tell you from my experience what it's like to eat food with no enzymes whatsoever. It is the worst pain I've ever felt in my life, for sure, even more than surgeries and other accidents and things like that. The pain you feel from eating food without enzymes is terrible. It feels like knives and needles are just poking your insides out the entire time. It feels like you have a cement block stuck in your stomach and it's slowly working its way out. And this doesn't last for a few minutes. It doesn't last for a few hours. It lasts for a day minimum, sometimes several days. And you can't eat. If you eat more, then you're just adding on to the problem, and you just basically have to get through it. And it's not like you can take ibuprofen or something to like help with the pain or pain meds. It's going to happen regardless. So if you think that you have an extreme deficiency in enzymes, you would know it. You would have some serious pain. And I mean serious pain if you're eating high fat meals with red meat, with really tough protein sources, or beef jerky for one. That one, that's the toughest one I can tell you, because it's dehydrated. So if things like high fats and high proteins are really causing like serious pain, not just bloating, but I mean pain in your stomach, yeah, you probably do need some digestive enzymes when you eat those particular foods. Now, it's highly unlikely they're actually going to be able to eat enough protein to where you need more enzymes. There's plenty of bodybuilders and athletes in the past that have eaten 400, 500 plus grams of protein in a day, and they just don't need enzymes. And I know they don't, because if they needed enzymes, I promise you, as badass as they think they are, they would not be able to eat that much protein. You can't just fight through it. You literally cannot eat any more food. So if you truly think you might need digestive enzymes, I would suggest seeing a doctor, because there's really three things that could be causing it. Chronic pancreatitis, I think it's pancreatic exocrine dysfunction, which is dysfunction of your pancreas. And then the third one is cystic fibrosis. If you're watching this, you would know whether or not you have cystic fibrosis. So it really comes down to those two things. The doctor's going to be able to tell you that. Now, let's see what I take for enzymes and then compare that to over-the-counter supplements. All right. So I take this. This is called Creon, and these are what they look like. This is very expensive, anywhere from $10,000 to $20,000 without insurance. That's expensive. These are derived from dead pigs, straight from the pig's pancreas, and they put it in these pills. Now, these pills, this is how the doses are measured by units, are USP units, and it doesn't have to say USP. There's a couple other things it could say. But for Creon, the lipase is the most important, like I said, so that's what they essentially measure it with. 36,000 units, and that's per pill. Then you got the protease and amylase. So for myself, someone that has no enzymes at all with their food, if I eat a normal meal, 30 grams of protein, 50 grams of carbs, and some fats, just like a tip, whatever you think, just like a number 2 for McDonald's, whatever. It doesn't have to be healthy or not. I'm taking at least 5 of these capsules with that meal, like minimum. So that's what I have to have. Otherwise, I will notice discomfort, and the less pills I would take with it. I've had meals where I've missed enzymes completely and just took a chance. That's a terrible mistake. So if I'm taking 5 of these pills, you can do the math on this lipase. Compare that to something like this. Now this, from what I can tell, this is one of the best over-the-counter digestive enzymes you can get, is the Now supplements, because it has a really high amount of enzymes in it compared to the other sources. Now, one capsule of this only has 3,000 units of lipase in it, compared to one capsule of mine that has 36,000. So you would have to take at least 10 of these to get close to 1 pill of what I have to take. And I have to take 5 of those. All right, so what's the math on that? 3 times 10, 10 times 5. That's a lot of pills. That's like 50 pills per meal if you had no enzymes at all. So you can do the math on that and see what the difference is. But the question is it really worth it to pay 20 bucks for this thing just to pop a pill every time you eat a high protein meal thinking that it's helping you digest it, when someone that has no enzymes at all has to take such a large amount, 36 lipase units times 5 per meal, and this only has 3,000 per pill. I mean, how many of these would you have to take for it to actually make a difference? And do you even need it? I'm just going to tell you, you probably don't need it. And it's probably a huge waste of money. And I'm a big advocate in bodybuilding that anytime you can pick up a 1%, picking up pennies, man, you got to pick up pennies all the time. Anything that'll make you 1% better, you should do it. I don't know that this is making you 1% better. It's way less than 1%. I mean, this is one of those situations where you're stepping over $1 to pick up a penny, in my opinion. $20 for this when you could buy like a good tasting protein or buying yourself a good burger or something. I mean, other supplements, health supplements. You can get a bottle of NAC for the same price as this. So take that into consideration when you're looking at supplements like this, the digestive supplements, because in all honesty, this is not dosed nearly enough to make a difference when you're comparing it to pharmaceutical grade enzymes that cost $10,000 to $20,000 per month. And this $20 bottle, do you really think this $20 bottle is going to make a difference? I would just be buying this if it made that big of a difference and save the $10,000 a month on my insurance. Doesn't that make sense? So what do you guys think? Has anyone actually tried these digestive enzymes and noticed it working? And I don't mean like the placebo effect. Has it actually been working? Because you can tell a difference, not to be gross, you can tell a difference in your stool. You can tell a difference in how often you go to the bathroom, how easy it is to use the bathroom, how quickly things go through your system, if you have acid reflux or not. Everything will be working better if you actually need them. If you take too much, you can also have side effects. So tell me down below in the comments if you guys have tried digestive enzymes. Tell me if I'm way off base on this. I'd like to know what you think.